Thank you for joining us and welcome home. This video is dedicated to Mr. Ron Amitron, his life's work, and his mission here on Earth. If you're not familiar with Ron, please just sit back, relax, and open your mind and heart to his teachings. He's going to explain a little bit about who he was, the Creation Lightship, how you were created, and the nature of our reality. Ron also goes into further detail about the teachings from Jesus and the healings that he was doing here 2,000 years ago. Ron's mission here on Earth was to help people ascend to a higher state of consciousness through the Ascension cycle. And during that time, he got a little sidetracked and had to look into the alien agenda, which he'll speak a little bit more about. So sit back, relax, and enjoy the light codes and harmonic frequencies of Ron's voice. All of Ron's radio shows are activated with divine light energy codes through his voice and clearings. Densities are removed and healings occur by listening to Ron's voice. If you don't speak or understand English, the clearings will still work. Always keep the light being image up on your monitor or cell phone for Ron's radio show clearings to activate. And make sure you stick around to the very end, as Ron's going to provide us with a simple exercise that'll bring you into peace energy in the present moment. So first, we'll have a brief testimonial, and then without further ado, we'll pass it on over to Ron. After listening to countless hours of Ron's videos and radio shows, I decided to pull the trigger on a few clearings. Wow, the big one that really stood out for me was the natal barcode clearing. While doing that clearing, I heard a loud banging coming from the chimney inside my house. I've never heard this noise as long as I've lived here, before or since that day. That was when I went from a believer to a knower. There were definitely things being released that day, let me tell you, and it sounded like they were not happy about it. It's something that I'll never forget. Thanks, Ron.
Yeah, hello everyone. This is E.T. Ron. This is my first radio show with BBS, so this is wonderful. I'll just describe a little bit about myself. And this is my first lifetime in about 3,000 years here on this planet. I've been here, I think, one time before, but it's a very, very distant memory. And I'm from the Creation Lightship that comes to our planet once every 2,000 years to help people with the Ascension process. And it's also in charge of the universal shift that we're going through right now that people talk about, the 2012 shift. So the Creation Lightship is very large. It's approximately 500 miles in diameter if it were to materialize physically for us. It has approximately around 200 stories tall in height. Each story is probably around 20 to 25 feet. This is creation itself. I'll try to describe that to you. Initially there was, from my understanding, for what the ship tells me, there was one energy, and that energy split in half, making two energies. So it could see the reflection of itself and its, say, spiritual growth. And at that point it wanted to create life forms and other things, universes, galaxies, etc. So it created the Creation Lightship, which is where I'm from. And it created 12 energies to accomplish this, and these 12 energies are on this ship. The 12 energies are equal to the one source energy, so it just divided itself out into different attributes. Now the Creation Lightship has the spiritual blueprints of everything in the universe on it. And what happens is, because of negativity and because the universe needs to change in dimensions, every 2,000 years the ship comes about and comes to all sentient beings that are conscious, and it does the Ascension process for everything that is physical and non-physical in the universe. So if a planet spirit, I'll use the word spirit, decides to evolve into the next dimension of higher consciousness, then it will have a chance to do that. And what my understanding is that this happens instantaneously, like a blink of an eye. Everything becomes dematerialized and then rematerialized over again. And as that happens, the beings that are on, say, a given planet, we'll just talk about maybe planet Earth here since this is what we're familiar with. If you're able to hold your spirit energy inside of your body, which is what we have when we're first born, then you're able to do the ascension process. Unfortunately, most people are not in their bodies all the way. And even worse so, most people are only 20% in their bodies. So right now, it's very paramount for everybody to get rid of their emotional baggage, which prevents your spirit from integrating with your physical body. Your emotional baggage is what your spirit cannot come into because emotions are judgment. And the emotional body that we have here, which is a earth-based energy, somehow prevents us from becoming more into our bodies through different traumas that we go through. So what you want to do is become fully present into your body, just as you were when you were born. The Bible, in a sense, talks about that as, you must be like young as a child, have the innocence of a child, become, this beautiful life form of innocence. And that's what they're talking about, is being young like a child, or being innocent in your energy and without judgment. So your spirit needs to be fully with you for the ascension process. And your spirit has all the tools, all the keys that is needed for the ascension, because it's part of the divine. It knows how to do this. And what happened last time when Jesus came to do the ascension process here on earth, his mission, in a sense, was kind of cut short due to the cross scenario of dying on the cross. That was just one of his lifetimes. He actually did 12 lifetimes at once. But aside from that, in that scenario, which we know about and remember him by, the Earth Spirit decided, because the humanity on the planet was not advanced enough at that time, and he even mentioned about mind control that we have now. His words were basically just kind of paraphrasing, forgive them for they do not know what they do. So that was a mind control that was brought to this planet by, I'll use the word, negative forces, the dark side, negative extraterrestrial beings that were bringing down their energies to hold people captive here. And that's a whole different topic in itself. But basically, people were not responsible for their actions. And part of that is entities that come into people's bodies. And when they come in, you kind of forget what you're doing. You might lose your memory. If you get into arguments with someone, they can body hop between you and the person that you're arguing with. And anyway, they just take you off your spiritual path, and at that point, your spirit is not with you. Your spirit also can leave your body through physical pain, because that's a low vibration for it. It wants to live in love energy, in non-judgment, in light energy, and it can't exist in pain, so it also leaves. And when your spirit leaves, then you're held wide open for these emotional bodies of people that have passed on to come into you. And they can come to you just from, like I said, even being physically hurt or something. So the whole key is to get yourself into your body, to release your judgments, to call your spirit back to yourself, to heal your spirit, because your spirit really cannot come back into you unless you have it healed. And the healing aspect and why people don't heal is because their spirit energy is too low. When you ask for a healing, you are connected to the divine on some level of consciousness. This energy comes down to you. And if you're only 20% in your body, at best, you're going to have a 20% healing, because your spirit needs to integrate fully with you. And then what happens is that energy from your spirit then is passed on down through lower densities And one of those bodies is your emotional body. And it's like a filter. And this filtering process may only give you, say, 5% after that. And so this is why we don't heal. So you want to get rid of the emotional body, the densities that these judgments are in. You want to clear out your physical body of densities and your emotional body. I have a process that I'm going to do with everyone right now online. And this is taught to me by the ship. I'm a doctor on the ship, and I live here and there at the same time. I can instantaneously bilocate to the Creation Lightship. I can look around up there, see what's happening, just like I can here. Sometimes they make things blurry for me, but it's the same basic process that we have here. There are light beings walking on the ship. They take on different light forms, and some are tall, some are short. For myself, I'm about 8 foot tall on the ship. In this lifetime here, I'm about 6 feet. But there are some beings that are about 15 foot tall, and some are about 3 foot. The Creation Lightship is a pure light ship. It's at the highest dimension of consciousness. The other ships that are here helping out are at lower densities. Right. And they're also doing some pretty good work. But the Creation Lightship is in charge of the universal shift. Yeah, this is monumental right now for everyone. But you have to be in your body to do this ascension process. And the ascension is just taking your body with its full consciousness right now and going into the new dimension, we'll call it, and have your body look the way it does now, but in perfect health. And you can talk about maybe after that happens how life was here previously, which no one else is going to know what it's like because they weren't here during this process. The ship itself, the doctors on the ship, when I do my healings with them, and the doctors actually do the healings, they do work with everything that is known to you. Your complete spiritual blueprint of who you are is on the ship because they created you.
Right.
So they created the initial human life form, and they also created your spirit. So both of these get worked with along with every body that makes up the physical body.
So here we go. I'm going to bring in some peace energy. And if you're just wondering what the difference is, okay, the peace energy is a non-judgmental energy. This is source energy. And it's not mind energy. So you can think that you're peaceful in your mind. A lot of people think because their mind becomes quiet that they're in peace. And that isn't the way it works. You have to drop into your heart center with your spirit doing that for you. So I'm trying to educate people here on major differences because the darkness, the aliens, I call it the light of the darkness, has taken everything that source energy of light has used, and they brought it into their own system of darkness, and it looks almost identical if you don't know the difference. So you always have to work with your spirit. If you don't work with your spirit on anything, when you're doing clearing, healings, commanding your spirit to help you, then you're working with the light of the darkness. And almost all the teachings out there do have some truth in them because it came from source energy, but the darkness took it away and brought through the energies of darkness into those particular modalities and things. So that's what I call the light of the darkness. Oh, here we go. We'll just bring this up. So we're going to bring the energy of the light being with source energy in it. And this will be peace energy, because peace energy knows no vocabulary. If it knew a vocabulary, or if it channeled through people or anything else, then it would be darkness. So that's the difference. There's no judgment in it. Okay, so let's do a clearing here. This is on the website too. It's a pre-clearing on the left-hand side in a drop-down box. And it's a clearing that's a 2,000 year of darkness barcode removal. If you're wondering what that is, that's what the darkness put in everybody, programmed it into your DNA, transmitted it to you. This is energies that prevent you from going into true light. So in a way, what it's doing is it's bringing in energies that will manipulate you, robotically control you, so that you will not know what light is. And it will have a way that you can be connected through it to the darkness, thinking that is true light. And that's kind of what has happened maybe probably, I'd say from the 60s on, as the New Age movement came forward. They were using light of the darkness materials, which all sounded great, but it wasn't source energy. Remember, the source energy never promotes itself, doesn't come through channeling or anything else. So this is what people have been listening to, is people channeling, getting information, writing tons of books out there. You know, you may have books in your own library on New Age metaphysics and different things. And this is all brought forth by the light of the darkness. Is there truth in it? Yeah, there is truth, but what's the book connecting you up to? And even though it may sound logical and work perfectly fine, and you look at it with your mind, remember the mind is controlled by darkness. When you want to drop into your heart center, then you use actually the mind of your heart, which is source energy. It's a completely different system, but it's very, very similar because the darkness changed it. So you want to have your whole body resonate to light versus your whole body resonating to darkness. And your whole body is resonating through and to darkness because it has stored DNA in it, which is containing thoughts of all of your ancestors. And those thoughts come forward in this lifetime, which is what you would call your learning lessons, your learning experiences. That's kind of how this thing works. In true light, there's no DNA, there's no body that's going to hang on to past judgments, past situations. And that's the way it works. So here we go. We're going to release this 2,000-year darkness barcode. There's probably thousands of them attached to people. But we'll get some of this off of you so that you're going to be able to think a little clearer, which means that you're really not going to be thinking. You're not going to have a thought coming in to block you from truth, because your spirit is what's going to be connecting more to you. So this kind of like takes away your spirit energy. So here we go. I'll count to 10 to release some of the energy. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. And you may feel yourself getting a little warmer now because these energies of these barcodes are being taken away from you, which will allow you to hear the truth more than it is to hear the darkness. Do it again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. This will also help you to communicate with your spirit, which is in your heart center. Again, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. There we go. Well, that should help you out a lot. Remember, a lot of people think that your spirit's going to come forth and talk to you inside of your head all the time. People say, yeah, I talk to my spirit daily. Well, you have to go into your heart center first with your spirit to do that. You have to command that your thoughts that you have in your head go into your heart, and then you're in connection with your spirit. As you do it more and more, eventually your whole body will be like a sounding board. But for most people, what they're doing is connecting to the mind energy, the light of the darkness, inside of their head, and they're hearing a voice, which is the darkness energy, and people tell you that it's your spirit talking to you. And that's not the case. And so what we have is, what I talk about is kind of out of the box here, a little strange for a lot of people because most information that's out there, if it is about extraterrestrials and aliens and UFOs, then you have the venue of people trying to get binoculars to see them, waving their hand in the sky on high mountains. They don't know about all the negative things that typically happen. They're just kind of curious, wanting to go up on a spaceship. And then you have the ones where you have the MUFON type of events where they try to tell you, oh yeah, we have the aliens that have talked with the Greys, talking with our government and this and that, and then they got the cattle mutilation. All this stuff is probably maybe good information, but for me it's like about preschool energy that they're talking about because they really don't know what's happening, and they just try to, pacify people, to educate them about UFOs. They talk about old stuff, in the 40s and 50s. They won't bring anything out new. They don't know really about what's going on. There are some people that do expose timelines, and there are people who are super soldiers that you can check them out on YouTube. And those are who I actually work with. A lot of those, maybe the people not on YouTube, but work with a lot of the special forces, special invisible soldiers fighting the aliens. This is what I do. So the whole process of my own reason for being here was to save the planet, to get the planet energy, the spirit energy out for Ascension, and then to help people here if they were, trying to, do the Ascension process themselves here. But the whole thing is brought me into the alien agenda, which I didn't really want to go into. And that's where I am now, trying to help people to get them released from these energies. And, the abduction process is a pretty awful, scary thing. And this happens to people daily, not knowing what's going on, and then you get cloned out. So we could probably cover, I could have this show for probably, 8 hours here and talk about this stuff. We try to cover it lightly, a little bit on each one of the programs. So the main thing is that you need to realize that when you're not here, where are you? And you may not even know where that is. And also what's controlling your body, what the energies inside of you want to listen to when I'm talking. If I get too close to a subject that may maybe scare you, or I'm just getting too close to what the truth is, a lot of times the alien energies that are controlling you, robotic programs that want you not to listen. And all of a sudden, when that happens, you just want to say, well, I'm getting tired, or you start yawning or something, or you want to do something else. And that's where you really want to listen, because you start to realize that, I'm in this trap. And all the news that I have is basically, for me, good news, because that's why you're stuck here. So you get an information to help you. And you go, wow, that's why I've been here for 50,000 years, because the aliens have wanted me to live off my energy and stuff. No wonder why I can't get out of here. Well, I have a solution. But that's how I see it. So I'm giving you a lot of positive information, but you might interpret it as being negative because it's scary. Well, this is where you're living. This is why you're here. So once you take that premise and say, yeah, I'm here because I'm in this prison planet controlled by aliens, and you go, oh, okay, now I want to find out what's really going on. Now, until you can take that little leap and start to understand what the process is and why you're stuck here, you're going to be here, a lot longer, and probably not if you won't even be here, because, like I mentioned, the Earth Spirit is no longer going to materialize the planet that you live on. And this is it. This is the last days, basically, or last years. I can't tell you when, because the light only works in the now. You don't really have a warning, we'll say, of when Ascension is going to happen. So what we're going to be doing on this program is explaining to you about timelines. So I'll give you an example of a timeline. And also, hovering inside of that will be deja vu. So what happens is you're living multiple timelines. So multiple could be maybe 100 at one time. It could be even 1,000 or more. Each timeline that you are living on is a representation of probably all the other ones. So in a sense you have the same movie set doing the exact same thing all the time, but different alien races are controlling you on each one of those timelines. So we'll just keep it very simple. We'll just say you're on 100 timelines. That means that there's 100 different types of aliens, or it could be the same race, but they're divided off into 100 segments. But there's 100 aliens of different energies controlling you, taking away your energy. And you could be doing the exact same thing on each timeline. Remember, they control time. We're in a linear time here. And we can look at the show here, and, we've been on for maybe a little bit over 20 minutes, we'll say. And so for us, it's 20 minutes. And to them, if they stop time on you, it could be years in our 20 minutes of time. So they can stop time, rearrange things, do different things to you, and you still think that you're here because you don't know when you're not here. Remember, the timeline if you look at if you know what a sine wave is, if you don't know what a sine wave is, you may just look at it, Google it. A sine wave is what they normally show in electronics, like on an oscilloscope. You probably have seen movies where they have an oscilloscope moving with the line going up and down. But it's like an S sideways. And there's a flat line, we'll call it, the center line, where nothing happens, and then you go above the line and below the line. And that's what a sine wave is. If you're in mathematics, you're going to know what it is automatically if you took any type of courses. So a sine wave is what's used a lot. And when you're turned on the upside, the positive part of the sine wave, it's the same as the negative. It just is a way to go up and down, up and down, up and down. More in the center is when time stops. So when time is stopped, how long is that going to be? That's where the aliens stop you. And they can stretch that stop time off for years and then restart you again. So you're just like a little remote-controlled person, we'll say, or a remote-controlled car, or like watching a DVD and they have the pause button and the play button and the fast forward and rewind. They can do all these things. So when you have a deja vu, what you are is that you're actually having a blade through somehow from another timeline controlled by the aliens, taking away your energy. And so you're living that exact same life that you're living now, but somehow you may have been a little bit ahead of this one. Like I said, they're in control of time. So if there will say a minute ahead of you, then you may have a bleed through and get it downloaded into this timeline, and all of a sudden the two kind of cross over, and they have a copy and paste, and all of a sudden you now have that information that you knew nothing about, and now you see what your future is going to be like. That's what a deja vu is. You're seeing something that's going to happen to you in the future. So in a sense, you're viewing a timeline that you were living on already, and now it can happen over again. Well, that could be happening, like I said, 100 to maybe 1,000 times for you. What happens if you get hurt on a timeline? Well, all that energy can be copy and pasted on those 1,000 timelines into this one here. And all of a sudden, what was just a scrape on the knee really, really hurts, where really maybe it didn't have much of an impact here, but you have all the energy from those timelines on you. That's what happens. And if you have an illness, that's even worse. So that's what deja vu is that you're actually seeing yourself in what would be the future, into your current reality here. And from that timeline, this one here has not been created yet. So you do get the information, but the scene around you hasn't been happening, and it's going to be, but you're seeing kind of like, maybe a millisecond or maybe up to a minute ahead of time. It all depends how they orchestrate that for you. Ideally, it's probably a slip-up on one of the alien races as it bled through to you, because they don't want you to be in fear of something, because then you may not want to do what's on those timelines. So that's the whole process. So that's what the deja vu system is that you're getting problem, and that also the deja vu could be what people have as far as maybe remote viewers looking at the future, or somebody doing a prediction. You're actually seeing a timeline that is real in the future. They can go back in time and also go forward in time. They can go maybe 20 years into the future. People are always talking about how devastation is going to happen, how maybe California was supposed to go into the ocean. Did that actually happen? Yes, it did. Those timelines are real. Did it happen on the timeline that you're living on here? No. But it did happen on the timelines that you lived on where it did go into the ocean. So, are you living now on those timelines, or did you get killed? Very interesting. Did you all of a sudden become afraid of water, about being drowned in those timelines because the may got stuck here? So all these things become your reality. You may not even know what it's about. You may have an unexplained fear all of a sudden about something because you experienced that, and that really happened on a timeline. So all timelines are real, and every prediction that you hear is real. But will it happen here? Well, it's a different timeline. That's kind of useful. A lot of people are visual. You can talk all you want, and if you don't see it physically, you may not understand it. So So just know that the sine wave, and everybody knows about it now. Another way to look at it is every light in your house, if it's incandescent with a little filament, that gets turned off 120 times a second. That's because we have 60 cycle currents. So that means that each pulse of a cycle is a positive half and negative half. Doesn't matter. I'm not saying that positive is good, negative is bad. It's just the way it works. So every light bulb that you see is being turned off and on at 120 times a second. And if you notice, in the old days when they used to have the 8mm cameras, and you played it or took a picture of your TV screen, you can actually see the bar moving up and down on your TV. Another way is kind of just think of a strobe light flashing, and you can see your hand moving in a dark room, and you don't see the thing moving. All you do is see it go from one location to the next. And then to make it a little clearer for people, you all know what fluorescent lights are, and when they start getting bad, they're not being pulsed, or they don't activate all the way, and so that's why they flicker, because they're only being pulsed at certain times. So that's our 60 cycle current here, and so this is the same way your body works. So you're being recreated every time you're turned off, and then you put it back on again. That's the way it works. And when you're turned off, that's when they can change the program in you and change the events. If they were to do stuff a little differently, I'm sure that there are people out there who know about time traveling, so they could probably take you in the off state and change the time and transport you in that off state, and then when you're turned on again, you're somewhere else. Oh, that's very interesting. That's just the kind of the way it works. So everything that we're dealing with is quite interesting. What we can do is a sample here. I'll do a sample of the emotional clearing. And the emotional clearing just needs to be done one time. Takes about 15 minutes to do on the website. And it cleans out your whole lifetime from when the clearing starts, going back to conception. 10 minutes, we'll say you did it at noon, right? So you started at noon and, took the 10 minutes, and you're cleaned out this is what Jesus did 2,000 years ago when I was in his body doing the clearings, a little different format, but it's the same. The ending process is the same here. So you have to get the body cleaned out to have your spirit come back into it. That's the basic thing. You can only bring in your spirit, which is the light. You never bring anything into your body of more light outside of yourself because of the light of the darkness. And true source energy does not channel light that you can plug into out there in the cosmos because it's already here. So your connection to light is your own spirit. It's always with you. That's why I say just need one page, one book, go with that. That's it, period. Anything else is going to take you into the mind energy of people channeling the aliens. And then you have the abduction processes even more as you start getting more information. And the old saying, curiosity killed the cat, that's what happens. So I'm going to do an emotional clearing, and it'll start with what you wish to have cleaned out of you. Remember, the light doesn't judge you, so you need to judge yourself now. So think of an emotional event that you had happen to you. Could it happen today or yesterday? Could it happen any time in your life? Just think of that particular situation. I can release that one particular event from you. Okay? On the whole lifetime clearing, it gets all of them. When I do these live, I can only do it this way here. So here we go. Think of your particular situation when you got upset some way, anger or whatever, fear, and bring it up right now, and I'll clear it. I'll count to 5 to do so. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. There, it's gone. And these clearings are so good that you will never see that clearing ever again, as far as that situation. If you try to think back upon it, it's no longer there because the light just took it away. It took out that little bit of the darkness program that you have in you. Some of the New Agers think that you have to go through learning processes, experiences to live life here. That's what your thing is. You got dealt this bad deck of cards and you have to go through everything. No, it's not true. So on the website we have the unlimited version of the whole lifetime one, and this keeps you current. So like I said, if you did the clearing at 12 o'clock noon, then everything from 12 o'clock noon down to conception's cleared. What happens at, 1 o'clock? Well, that's not included. And that's what unfortunately, the churches don't talk about, when they talk about Jesus, they talk about what he did, and they think that he's still here doing this stuff. No. The energy of Jesus left when he was no longer here doing the clearing. So whatever his age was, we'll just say that he was 40 hypothetically, and he left, okay? It's more like 30-something, what people talk about, but I'll just say 40 to let your mind go a little different here. So we'll say that he left here at 40. Well, at that point, there is no longer any Jesus here. Light did not come here at all through anybody doing clearings until just recently here when I came in to help people out. So we'll just say for 1950 years there was actually no energy on this planet of light except what people had inside of themselves, their own spirit, which normally cannot be used to heal other people because then you become contaminated, so your spirit doesn't really want to do that typically. So the only light that you have was from yourself. That's why you just need one page, one book, go within. That's the whole process, is that you want to get your body cleaned out to stay current. That's why we have the unlimited clearing on the website. And you can get that after you do the whole lifetime clearing and do it 3 times a day, and you feel very peaceful. And that's the whole process of why you want to do clearings. There are events in your life that you may know about or not know about. You don't know what have happened to you typically, but it's still going to be something that was recorded. And you're carrying all the thoughts of your ancestors, and who knows what that could have been. So you want to get those cleaned out of you to have more spirit energy. So these mind energy thoughts are programs that get stored inside of you and takes up the space where your spirit's supposed to be. So if you remember one of Jesus' basic phrases, whether it's exact or not, but I can just paraphrase it, he says you have to be like a child to enter into the kingdom. So what does that mean? Well, look at a baby. A baby is not controlled by mind energy yet until they get taught what to do, what not to do, how to live here. So until they get taught that, they're very peaceful, very happy. They may cry a lot. The crying is when they start wiggling their feet a lot, when they're being abducted and being poked with pins in their feet. So if you had a child ever and you're holding them and all of a sudden they start fussing around and jerking and everything else, what is that? Well, you could say, well, that's their synapses and different brain patterns working and nervous system coming online, etc. No, that's the alien abduction. They're attacking that poor little baby, okay? Which happens to you too. So in order to enter into the kingdom with full spirit, we'll say, or go back to source energy, you need to have your spirit with you inside of your body. That's the ascension process. That's what Jesus was doing, is getting people back to innocence, which means no mind energy. Getting rid of those programs that are stored inside of you that's preventing your spirit to be with you. That's the whole process. So you can't think your way out of this at all. You have to do clearings, okay? Whenever you think, then you're in darkness. Initially, a baby would probably be connected to a thought energy of source energy, which is non-judgmental energy, and the whole body is like a heart energy. That's where you want to get to. But you can't think your way out of it, and you can't be taught how to get out of it, because when you do that, you're just being led astray. So you have to do clearings to get it out. That's why every 2,000 years somebody comes here to help humanity out for the ascension process. That's when it happens, every 2,000 years approximately. Okay, well, so we'll do a mental clearing. What this will do is, like Kathy said, get rid of some of the mind chatter or mental programs that you're running right now. So it kind of works in the now. And it's a clearing that's really hard to describe because the darkness gave you the mind energy. Ideally, your mind energy would be with your spirit, if it would be mind, but it would be called heart energy, heart mind. And that's what a baby has. And then as they get programmed to live here, then they switch over from heart mind. That gets dampened down a whole lot, maybe 90% or more, and then you work with the mind energy of how to live here and how things work and what to do, what not to do. Yes, no, stop, go, left or right, things like this. So here we go. Just kind of sense your thoughts that you're having right now. And you may have some confusion about what I've been talking about, or maybe I opened up an area that you chose not to go into because it may have been scary. Or maybe you're going, man, this thing's making some sense to me. And then you may get all these other thoughts coming in. And the thoughts really are typically not your own. It's a program. we're going to clean out that program right now, a quick sample of the mental clearing to help you to become more peaceful. Remember, the old saying, women are emotional, men are mental type of thing, and everybody does have mental energies. So here we go. I'll just do a basic clearing to get you more into peace with your mind. So this is a mental clearing. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. You may start to feel your thoughts kind of getting dissolved. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Remember, your thoughts that you have are typically already stored inside of your body in your DNA. So when you have a thought, if you don't have anything to relate to, it won't stick. And that's much like the emotional clearing, okay? So what happens is that on the emotional clearing, people attach to you through their programs activating your past DNA. So once you get the clearing done, you're cleared out, but then other people can bring back energies to you as they give you a situation that goes into your past and your DNA, which is normally inactive and now becomes active.
Okay, everybody, so we're going to teach you how to do the mind to heart drop. It's very, very simple, only takes about 20 seconds to do. And this you can do anytime you wish, but you must say it out loud or whisper it. And this will put you into peace energy instantly. So here's what you say out loud. Very simple. I now command my spirit. And after you say that, then you say to take the thoughts in my head. And the next process would be to drop them into my heart. And we'll count from 10 to 1 backwards 3 times to facilitate this energy moving from your head, we'll say, to your heart. And you can actually feel the energy drop down. So here we go. We want to say that together. So 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay, everybody. Now you're in peace energy. I'll just say blessings and see you later.